What's up, guys? Today I've got my review here of the Pretty Armor version 1, and I gotta say, wow, wow, wee wow again, because this kit really surprised me. Uh, I just built the Frame Arms Girls stylet, and after building that, I just kind of saw how good that kit was, the official Kotobukiya Frame Arms kit. And there's just like a lot of really small pieces that fit together really tightly, and I just building a like Chinese bootleg kit, which is this is basically just like bootleg frame arms kit, but a lot of the parts are new on this kit, so it's about maybe some parts are reused, like copied from Kotobukiya kits, but a lot of this is new. So anyway, I was really worried about the fit of this and if some stuff was gonna fit together, because a lot of bootleg kind of kits, fitting and like especially like really small parts is usually always a real trouble area on kits like that. So I was worried, but I gotta say that is just not an issue with this kit. Everything, the fitting on this kit is quite good. I mean, there's some stuff. I mean, there's some areas where stuff doesn't fit together like super tightly. You have like a little bit, tiny little bit of gap or something like that. But overall, it's much better than I expected, and I'd say like compared to the Kotobukiya kit, I'd say this is probably like 95%. It's almost just as good as the Kotobukiya kit. So really pleased with this. And the nice thing about this kit too is that it has a ton of options for this. It's basically kind of got like three forms. I'm gonna say this is like the full armor form, and then it has a kind of like less armor, like let's say this is full armor, and then it has just regular armor, and then it has kind of like no armor form, just kind of the basic form. I guess kind of what would be similar in like the frame arms to like a materia kit. I think like the ones that just like don't really have any armor on them at all. So you have a lot of that, and then you have a bunch of different options you can do with the hair as well. Like for the hair, you can do just like a single ponytail, or like you can do like what I've got here, just the two pigtails off to the side. You can also choose the ears on the top. You can choose to have just no ears on the top, or you can just choose to have just like kind of hair clips, sort of similar to like the Evangelion, like kind of clips on the top. It's sort of so it looks like that. Or you can choose just like a kind of smaller version of these kind of like robot ears like that. Or you can choose ones that have like actual like kind of hair in there, sort of like animal kind of ears. So I'll show you all those parts here in a bit. And as you can see here on the kit in this form with the kind of full armor form with the backpack that has these kind of like big cannons on there, and the sword. You actually get two swords. You also have two assault rifles, and then there's this big, huge shield, and the shield parts can also be attached onto the sides, kind of side of the kit as well. And you have all these crazy effect parts for the shield, and you just have a whole lot of stuff for options with this kit. So that's cool, and everything should be compatible with the Frame Arms Girls kit. So whatever you don't use with this kit, those parts should work perfectly fine with any other Frame Arms Girls kits you have. So I gotta say, very happy with this kit. It's quite cool. Just straight out of the box, the color is not really for me. I think it's very obviously supposed to be like modeled after Saber, the anime girl character. She usually has a different hairstyle, whatever, but I think it's pretty obviously supposed to be Saber. But I don't really care too much for that character, or I don't really have any connection with the character at all. I've never watched the anime or manga or whatever it is. But so probably going to be repainting this in some different colors, but just the kit overall, really happy with this. So I have to say a big thank you to Hobby Mission for sending me this. Guys, if you want to pick up this kit or other kind of bootleg third-party kits, P-Bandai kits as well, other kind of stuff. If you're looking for that, if you're looking for a good source to buy that kind of stuff, check out the link below. Check out Hobby Mission. Check out their site. They've got a lot of cool stuff on there. So big thank you to them. Now let's talk about some of the other option parts and stuff that we get with this first. First thing you can see right off the bat, obviously, is the stand. The stand works very well. You have that kind of extra bit that's on the back of the stand where I've got it plugged in now, where I've got like the arm plugged in now, but you don't have to have that bit. You could have the arm just plugged in straight into the middle, where you can see that hole just straight below her there. Okay, now as for the arm on the back of the stand, we've got a point of articulation here at the bottom, here in the middle, and then here as well. So at each of those points you have a nice strong bend and then rotation here at the bottom as well, of course, and then that's just plugged into the same kind of plug that you use for all of the frame arms and Kotobukiya frame arms and frame arms girls kits. And this kit as well, I'll use that same universal size plug. You do also have this option part as well at the end if you want to use this to just kind of grab onto the kit instead of an actual just physical plugging into there. You can use that instead. And then let's talk about the sword here on the side. That just pops out of there, no problem. So you have this nice, just solid one-piece molded sword, and you actually have two of these, so that's pretty nice. But the really strange thing is that you only get one of this little holster part, so while you have a whole lot of different options for this kit, and you have so many different stuff and so many different things to play with, you only have one of those holsters, so that's very strange. I don't really understand the reasoning behind that, why they didn't give us two of that part, but you can, of course, if you wanted to actually use two, you can just hold them both in each hand, or have one holstered and have one held in the hand, or however you want to do it. Okay, and then you've got this set of awesome assault rifles here. Two of those, they're exactly the same. No connection part or anything to be able to plug these onto the figure when it's not in use. So you just have to handhold them or just not at all. And I'm not sure how well they're going to be able to be held in the hand because of the angle of the handle there and this clip just right behind there. It might be kind of hard to hold these in the hand. We'll find out here in a bit. But no sticker or anything for the camera, so you'll have to paint that in as well. It's basically just two parts sandwiched together, and the camera part is a separate one right on the top of there. So you will have some seam lines going on with this. But again, I do really like the way it looks, so these are pretty cool. Now let's talk about the head and hair options for this kit. Now as I mentioned, you have two options for the hair. One is with the pigtails like this, and you have another option with just this ponytail like this. So that is just on a ball joint, and that can just be moved around like so. And then you have this kind of like sort of ribbon, it's like kind of angular robotic, but it's supposed to look like a ribbon sort of part like that, right? So you can use this hair if you want. And then for the ears on the top of the head, you can choose just to have no ears at all, just hair. You can do that, or you can choose these other smaller ones. These are basically similar to what I've got on there now, but just a shorter version of them, so they won't be quite as long. And then you got a set of these, just like animal kind of looking ears with like a little bit of fur in there like that. Or you can just plug on this just tiny little hair clip looking parts, again, sort of similar to like the Evangelion kind of hair clips. And as for the face, I've got just kind of the neutral one on there now, but it does come with a couple of other different face options. So this one, I guess, would be the sort of surprised look. And this one, the sort of, I don't really know what the emotion is supposed to be there, but yeah. And then you've got this one, which I guess is supposed to be kind of happy. So it doesn't really have like the angry shouting face that we get with the Kotobukiya frame arms girl kits, so that's kind of interesting. They went with some different expressions for theirs, but the painting on them is really nice. This is just pre-painted. It's not a sticker or a decal or anything, just painted on there like that, and they look really nice. But if you did want to do it yourself, you do also have a set of just blank faces like this. So if you did want to use the blank faces, you could use those along with these waterslide decals. Now the waterslide decals have water slides for the eyes, and then as well some other eye options that aren't pre-printed. So these ones here aren't pre-printed on any of the faces that we got, so you could use those as well. We also have some more waterslide decals here just for some white lining and everything kind of going around on there, and then some blue ones there for the panties. Okay, the next thing has got to be probably the coolest accessory of this kit, and that is this huge shield with all of those awesome light clear purple effect parts. It looks amazing. I really like the look of this. Now, this is a little bit interesting in how you're actually going to be able to use this. There is a connection point here on the back. Again, the same size connection point as everything else. And there's this little bit that can move up and down, so you can move the connection point around as needed. Now, you can plug this onto one of the four arms. There's basically 2 arms there on the back, and then 2 lower ones here. They're like kind of part of this backpack system that this figure is using. Now what you could do is just remove one of these big cannons, or remove one of these armor pieces there on the front, which again looks exactly like the side skirt armor of the Grimguard. But removing those, and then you can attach this onto the end of one of those mechanical arms, or you can combine parts of those to make a longer mechanical arm if you want. Again, there's a lot of options, a lot of things that you can do. But this thing looks super cool, and it's very big. As you can tell, it's taller than the girl herself. It's very big. I guess you could also use it like as a little like surfboard too, but really cool. In the manual, it also shows it in another form like this, with like the top part opened up like that. But again, everything is movable on here. Everything's all on these little joints and all of that, so you can move stuff around as you like. You can also just remove the front section and have it just be its own, just separate beam shield. Now the thing about this is that these effect parts are a little bit loose in here, so they can kind of like flop around a little bit in there and fall out kind of easily if you're not careful. But so just be careful with that. Maybe if you're so inclined, I would recommend just gluing them in there once you've painted this, if you're going to paint the center part. And as for these parts, as I mentioned before, these can actually be attached around onto these kind of side skirts, onto this lower mechanical arm going around the side. These parts can all be attached onto there, so I'll show you all of that in a minute. As for the hand options, we've got a bunch of those as well. You can see I've got the open expressive hand on there now. We do also have these. Just a set of open, just kind of resting hands like this. And then we have the holding hands with the extended trigger finger like this for holding on to a gun or something, I guess. One thing that's different about this from the frame arms kits is that the frame arms kits had a kind of molded like hand cover on the back of the hand as well. These don't have that, so these are just kind of just hands. And then we've got the regular holding hand for holding on to just a regular handle or a sword or something like that. And then a set of closed fists again, and all of these are for the left and right hand as well. And then the one set of hands that this kit has that at least the stylet that I looked at, the frame arm stylet, didn't have, is this set of V hands, or the peace sign hands. So that's pretty cool as well. And not only do you have all those hands in black, you also have a set of all those hands here available in flesh tone as well if you wanted to use those. And speaking of flesh tone, I might as well show this to you now because I'm not going to put it on at any other point during the review. For the crotch section there, you also have just a flesh tone version of that. I guess if you wanted to make a just naked version, I guess that could be why. Either that or the reason why they gave you this one is just for putting on the waterside decals over this, maybe, I guess, but yeah. Alright, so here she is with the skirt in full force there. It's relatively simple to just use the connections, and that's one thing that you have a lot of all kinds of different connection pieces and leftover connection pieces and things that you can use. So again, very, very highly customizable in how you want to set everything up. I'm just kind of going by what's in the manual, but of course you can get as creative as you like and mix and match things around, all of that. So everything works together very well. One thing that I won't go over in this review is the articulation of the figure itself. The articulation is going to be essentially the same as the frame arms girl stylet, which I just reviewed previously to this. So if you want to know more about the articulation in detail, you can go back and check out that video. But overall, it's pretty nice. There's some areas where it's a little bit limited, but overall, it's pretty good. Now from this point, I'm going to scale down the armor to its just kind of normal armored mode, and then we'll take a look at that. Okay, so in this form, basically the legs and the body, everything's the same. I changed up the ears. I just put just like the little caps there on the top instead. But really the only thing that's changed is just the arms, and then you just kind of take off the backpack. Now one thing that's kind of cool about that is that with the backpack and all the different parts of that and all the different articulation built into the mechanical arms and things like that, you can turn it into something where, I mean, again, it's just up to how creative you can make it. But you could turn that into like its own kind of like separate kind of like assist robot thing that's like kind of like flying along with the girl, if you guys get what I'm saying. You can turn it into its like own autonomous like AI assist robot sort of thing. Anyway, so it's kind of cool that, I mean, you have that. One thing that I wish we did have is a second arm for the base, because we do have a second slot there in the center. You do have a couple of parts to make a second arm, but you don't have all the parts you need. You don't have the joint parts. But as for my concerns about holding the assault rifle, it holds it just fine. So it doesn't really have a problem there at all in terms of holding that. So nothing to worry about there. So just to wrap it up, we need to strip down all the armor into its one final form. I'll show you that, and then we'll wrap up the review. All right, and here we are to end the review in its I was gonna say in its most naked form, but it can actually get a little bit more naked than this. The kind of blue arms around on the arm, you can actually get rid of those and just have it just arm. And then on the legs as well, the little blue parts on the side of the leg have to be there. There's no thigh parts where it's just the thigh without that. So, but the little white band around there, you do have a separate part, which is just the same part as that, but in flesh tone color. So you could get rid of that white band. And then as I showed you, you could use just the flesh tone crotch part, waist section as well if you want to do that. But anyway, overall, really great figure. I think all of the different parts and accessories and things that you have with this in terms of being able to customize it to however you want it is amazing. So you'll have no shortage of options for this kit, so that makes it pretty awesome in my opinion. And again, the fit and quality of everything is really, really good. I was not expecting it to be of this good quality. So I'm very, very happy with this. I highly recommend this if you guys are into frame arm girls or Saber as a character, or just looking for something cool to try out, something different, then I'd say give this kit a try. So again, big thank you to Hobby Mission for sending this to me. Check the link to their store down below if you're interested in checking out what they've got, or checking out this kit in particular, of course. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, leave those down below. I think I covered everything. There's a lot in the box, but I may have missed something. So if you do have any other questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer that for you. One thing I suppose some of you guys may be wondering is about the size of this. So here it is compared with a 1/44 scale Gundam kit. It's going to be a little bit taller, almost the size, almost the height of a master grade, sort of, almost. But anyway, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.